Welcome to the No Man's Sky Corvette build guide for the Ocean Walker, a submarine-inspired ship that won the Nautical Theme Build Contest over on the NMS Corvette design subreddit. For this build, we'll be using offset techniques and some rotated walkways to place parts, but everything is done within the space station and should be achievable on any platform. No expedition-specific parts are used, which means anyone can complete this build. Check the description for a full parts list. Let's jump right in. Start by placing a set of hydraulic legs just forward of the center mark as shown. Place a walkway over the legs and another just behind the first. Then on top of that, add another walkway and build up the required parts to allow us to apply changes. The exact parts don't matter for now, since they are temporary. Just make sure you have a cockpit, access way, thruster, and weapon attached. Now we're going to do our first half-step shift. Let's quickly learn how to do that. Corvette parts move and snap on a grid. You can see in this example that the hab is snapping to positions that line up with the walkways. We'll call this one full step. There is one piece, the rockhopper propeller module, that breaks out of this grid and can move in half-step increments. From the default orientation, you can see that the rockhopper module acts like any other part and only snaps in full steps. However, when you flip it horizontally, we can observe the half-step behavior. When the rockhopper is placed, it allows us to move other parts against it in half steps, unlocking many possibilities for more precise part placement in our builds. Now back to our build. Use a rockhopper module to shift the rear walkway a half step backwards. This is going to be important for getting our angles to line up properly later. Add a handful of Zenith-Class reactors in the orientation shown. We'll use these as scaffolding to help us create a few angled walkways. Be sure to remove the middle one. Go ahead and apply edits. Now we're going to free place a window in order to get a walkway that is rotated 45 degrees. Go into first-person view using the quick menu. Walk into the space between the reactors here until you are stopped from moving forward. It helps to turn on your torch for better visibility. Bring up the build menu and select any of the windows. Toggle free placement. Then carefully aim your cursor between the two dots overhead and place the window. Then go back to editing your Corvette. Place a walkway attached to the window. Grab the top reactor and attach it to the walkway. You may have to rotate it to get it to snap. Remove the walkway and create another scaffolding structure as shown. This time we'll need two spots to stand for placing windows. Apply edits once again. Now we're going to create an angle that will be used for building the nose of the ship. You'll need to place a window, just like before, but the target location is going to be different. This little rectangular indent will be our target. It can be helpful to place a light temporarily so it's easier to see. Do this on both sides. Now go around to the back of our scaffolding and position yourself to place a window. Select the window and enter free placement mode like we did before. Carefully aim at the center of the indent and place the window. You'll be placing the windows toward the center of the ship for each of these, which means when you're on the left, you'll be looking right, and when you're on the right, you'll be looking left. Place the second window. You can now remove the lights. Return to editing your Corvette. Attach walkways to the windows to establish the angles. Copy them to the side, then forward and down to the floor. Then remove the scaffolding and the rear walkway. Also remove the temporary parts added at the beginning. Let's take another quick detour and learn a second technique for shifting parts. The parts in the hull attachment section of the build menu can be used to shift habs and walkways by half steps on the normal Corvette grid, both vertically and horizontally. As you can see, this cargo capsule is changing its orientation automatically based on which surface it's referencing. If we snap it to a walkway, we can use this feature to our advantage by picking up and moving the walkway until the cargo capsule snaps on another side. This changes the position of the walkway a half step in two different directions. In this case, right and forward. Another option is up and back, as you can see here. There are others as well, and this opens up a lot of possibilities for part placement. All we need to do is shift a hab or walkway in this manner, and then use it as a temporary snap point to place parts against. Now back to our build. Use a cargo capsule to shift the walkway that's over the landing gear backwards and down. Place a hab behind the walkway. This hab will be part of the final build. Add a Titan-Class landing bay at the back. Then, place a firebox fairing at the front, flipped upside down. Remove the walkway in the middle and replace it with a bolted joint. Now, place a cargo capsule on top of the angled walkways and move them forward and up. Shift them forward another half step using a rockhopper module. Select the speed burn nacelle and add one in front of each walkway, flipped upside down. Now use a cargo capsule to shift the angled walkways up and towards the outside of the ship. Place flipped speed burn diffusers in front of the walkways nested inside the nacelles. Attach flipped thermal grill caps in front of the diffusers. If you're in creative mode, you may notice that the thermal grill cap is missing from the list. There is a bug where it does not show up if you haven't already found one in the wild. Luckily, you can barter for one in the Corvette construction terminal, and then it will show up in the list and be unlimited as expected. Next, copy the hab and place it on top, one step forward. Then place a walkway in front of that. This walkway will be in the final build. Add a Titan-Class Cockpit to the front. Now add your favorite weapons on the sides in these 4 positions. Duplicate each Speedbird diffuser and thermal grill cap on top of themselves. Then remove the angled walkways. Place more Speedbird nacelles attached to the first set. Make sure they are angled and not attached to the hab. Now, we're going to use a rock hopper module to temporarily shift the hab backwards a half step. Once this is done, attach Speedbird nacelles to the sides of the hab next to the landing bay. Then return the hab to its original position. Place flipped Speedbird fairings next to the nacelles we just added. Then add another set of nacelles on the other side of the fairings. Place hydraulic legs underneath the rear nacelles. Place temporary walkways above the legs and then shift them down and out using a cargo capsule. Copy them forward, then remove the originals. Attach swept casings upside down behind the walkways. They should sit inside the hydraulic legs and nacelles. Then you can remove the walkways. Copy the hab and place one behind and two to the sides. Now we're going to create the engine rooms using Titan-Class Walkways. Modules added to these walkways will have more of an industrial feel to them, which is perfect for an engine room. Place them behind the left and right side habs. Add two more behind, but these two will be temporary. Use rock hopper modules to shift these backwards a half step. Now select either a Medusa or Azimuth-Class Reactor. These will be visible inside the engine room, so choose whichever you prefer. Here's an example of what the engine room could look like with the Medusa reactors. And here's the Azimuth. Place them attached to the shifted walkways, clipping into the engine room walkways. Then remove the temporary walkways. Next, add another set of Speedbird diffusers behind the first. Add two ducting outlets to each side of the ship, front and back. The spaces between them will be used for windows later on. Now, temporarily copy the engine room walkways backwards and shift them out and back using a cargo capsule. Select the Arcadia blade and attach the flat side to the front of each shifted walkway, upside down and pointed out. Remove one of the temporary walkways and attach the other to the back of the middle hab. Attach an ambassador Sublight thruster to each side of the walkway. Then, using a cargo capsule attached to the bottom of the walkway, shift it down and left. Copy the walkway to the right side, then attach two more ambassador Sublight thrusters. Remove the temporary walkways. Now, take an Albatross cargo tank, flip it, and place one on each side to cover up the reactors. Then attach hard-frame diffusers in front of those. Now, back at the front of the ship, temporarily copy the walkway on top of itself. Use a cargo capsule to shift it right and back. Then use a rock hopper to shift it backwards one more half step. Add a Vesper aerofoil in front of the walkway and another next to that. Grab the temporary walkway and attach it to the back of the topmost Speedbird diffuser. Use a cargo capsule to shift it up and towards the middle of the ship. Repeat on the other side. Now attach Speedbird fairings to the front of the walkways, and then Speedbird nacelles in front of those. Behind the fairings, place whichever reactors you did not use in the engine room. I'm using Azimuth reactors here because I put the Medusa reactors in my engine room. Next, move one of the temporary walkways behind the reactors, making sure it sits straight in line with the ship. Then remove the other temporary walkway. Place the third and final Azimuth reactor in front of the walkway. Copy the temporary walkway to the back of the ship. Use a rock hopper module to shift it backwards. Place a cargo link on top. Then copy the walkway forward and use a cargo capsule to shift it forward and up. We're going to place the third and final Medusa reactor, but before we do, notice that the tooltip says the flight control system's performance limit has been reached. This is because the cockpit counts towards the limit. The Medusa reactor gives better stats, however, so we'll temporarily remove the cockpit in order to apply the reactor's stats instead. Now you can see the tooltip is showing the stats. Place the reactor behind the walkway we previously shifted, then replace the cockpit. Remove the last walkway, then place another behind the forward walkway. On top of this walkway, add a streamline trim. Remove the two walkways below. Place 3 Zenith-Class reactors in a row, starting from the walkway at the back. Attach a streamlined trim cap on top of the middle Zenith reactor. Now you can remove the rear temporary walkway. Next, place ion barriers or any other shield module behind and between each Zenith reactor. Let's learn our next build technique. Here's how to rotate a walkway by 180 degrees to make it face backwards. I'm going to demonstrate on the blue walkway here. First, we'll need to place a temporary walkway above the blue one we want to rotate. Then we want to place an internal stairway inside the blue walkway. To accomplish this, we'll need to be on foot, which means we have to be able to apply edits to our Corvette. Thus, we have to add a reactor, weapon, thruster, accessway, cockpit, and landing gear like I've done here. Run up to the walkway and place the stairs inside. Make sure it's in the one you want to rotate, and not the temporary one above it. Then return to editing. Now if I pick up and move the walkway, you can see that the stairs remain in place, attached to the temporary walkway above. Position the walkway back in its previous spot, but don't place it down yet. Press the rotate button so the walkway rotates around the stairs, then place the walkway. This works because the stairway can be placed inside a walkway from either direction. The reason we might want to do this is that certain parts only face one direction. When we snap these parts to a flipped walkway, they become flipped as well. A flipped walkway also creates a separate snapping context, allowing us to place multiple parts within the same space, which we normally cannot do. Now back to our build. This next part is easier if you start from the left side of the ship. We're going to place a walkway right next to the middle Zenith-Class Reactor and rotate it 180 degrees like we just learned. Add the stacked walkway. Place the stairs. Grab and rotate the bottom walkway. Double-check the facing. The vent will open towards the front of the ship if the walkway is backwards. This is what we want. Use a cargo capsule to shift the rotated walkway up and towards the middle of the ship. Then, copy a speedbird nacelle and attach it to the walkway facing forward. Keep in mind that you will have to rotate the nacelle because the walkway is rotated too. Duplicate the nacelle to the other side. Now use a rock hopper to shift the walkway towards the rear of the ship. Because the walkway is rotated 180 degrees, the rock hopper will attach to the opposite side than what you might expect. Attach a Vesper aerofoil to the walkway, pointing towards the rear of the ship. Mirror it to the other side. You can now remove the rotated walkway. Attach speedbird fairings to the top nacelles. Then place another set of nacelles behind those. Place 2 more fairings below on each side. Then more nacelles behind those as well. Now, place a firebox cowling at the back underneath the cargo link. Next, we're going to add some antennas to the top. Hop up on top of the streamlined trim piece and place any antennas you'd like on top of the Medusa reactor. I chose the tall void antenna and the dual-pronged antenna. These can be purchased from the base parts vendor in the anomaly. Now we'll choose colors for the Corvette. Since I named this Corvette the Ocean Walker, I went with a blue color scheme with some black accents. Feel free to color it however you like. The final exterior pieces are the windows. We'll add rounded windows to each side and the back of the ship. Since we aren't quite at the part limit, you can optionally place some additional weapons. There are a couple easy mounting places on top of the ship. There are also a couple on the underside. Now for the interior. Your specific layout should be customized to your own needs, but there are enough interior spaces for all the essentials, such as the mission radar, nutrition unit, and refiner. Plus living walls, crew berths, medipod, and all 10 cargo racks. The refiner unit and cargo rack look great in the engine rooms. As you can see here, there are a few places where some of the exterior parts are clipping into the ship slightly, but you could hide them with decorations. Thanks so much for watching.